All right, so you're thinking about hiring a Terraform developer,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe you're not exactly sure what that even means.
Right.
The tech world loves to throw around all these fancy titles,
It does.
but we're going to break it down for you today.
Yeah.
And if you want to really get a head start, head over to theperfectdeveloper.com and check out the 5 questions. That'll really help you figure out what you need.
It's a great resource. So let's get down to it. What is a Terraform developer? And how are they different than just your average run-of-the-mill software developer?
Yeah, because if I'm building a website, I need a developer. Is that the same thing?
That's a great question. So a regular software developer will be focused on building the features of your website, the things that your users interact with. But a Terraform developer, they're focused on all the behind-the-scenes stuff, the servers,
Yeah.
the databases, the networks, the things that make your website actually run.
So they're like the architects then. They build the foundation that everything else sits on top of.
Exactly. They make sure that foundation is rock solid. And to do that, they need a really specific skill set. Obviously, they need to know Terraform, but they also need to know cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud.
So how do I know if somebody's got the skills?
Right.
What am I looking for in a good Terraform developer?
You're going to be looking for someone who can solve problems, someone who's a good collaborator, someone who can think ahead.
Okay, so they need to be able to think strategically.
Yeah, because things are changing constantly in the cloud, so you need someone who can adapt and keep up.
But let's be real. Everybody wants to know the price tag.
Of course.
How much is this going to cost me?
Well, salary really depends on a lot of things. Location, experience. But you can get a good idea of salary ranges over at theperfectdeveloper.com.
Okay, so I need to find these people. How do I even go about doing that?
That's where theperfectdeveloper.com can really help you out. They have so many resources on how to find and hire great developers. But the first step, go try the 5 questions. It'll change your life.
Sounds like a plan.
Seriously, it really will.
All right, so it sounds like these Terraform developers are pretty important.
They are.
But is it just tech companies who need them?
Not at all. Pretty much any company that uses the cloud is going to need someone who can manage their infrastructure.
So like finance, healthcare, e-commerce.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But I have another question. What about DevOps engineers? Can't they just handle the Terraform stuff?
Ah, that's a really common question. And it's a bit of a misconception. So some DevOps engineers might know a bit of Terraform, but it's not really their main focus.
So it's like asking a chef to fix your plumbing.
Pretty much. You probably want to call a plumber for that. And when it comes to complex cloud infrastructure, you really want a dedicated Terraform expert.
So you're saying it's worth it to hire someone specifically for Terraform?
Absolutely, especially if you have a large or complex project.
Okay, I'm convinced. I need to find myself a Terraform expert. But what are some mistakes I should avoid when I'm hiring?
One of the biggest mistakes is only focusing on technical skills. Of course, those are important. But you also need to think about things like problem-solving communication and creativity.
So you're saying I need to find someone who can think outside the box.
Yeah, you need someone who can see the big picture and someone who can come up with creative solutions to problems.
And theperfectdeveloper.com can help me find those people.
They can. They have a lot of great resources on how to write job descriptions that will attract the right kind of talent.
Awesome. So let's say I've found my rock star Terraform developer. How do I make sure they stick around?
Well, you need to create a work environment where they feel supported and challenged.
What does that even look like?
It means giving them the flexibility to work how they want, whether that's remote or in the office.
Okay, so flexibility is important.
It is. And you also need to give them a sense of purpose.
So they know that their work matters.
Exactly. And finally, you need to give them autonomy.
So they can own their work and make decisions.
Right. You want them to feel empowered.
This is all great advice. But I know everyone's thinking it. What about salary?
Yeah, salary is a big one. And it can vary a lot depending on location, experience, and even industry.
So there's no magic number?
Nope. But theperfectdeveloper.com can give you some benchmark.
Okay, so I can use them to get a better idea of what to expect.
Definitely.
So we've talked about finding, hiring, and even keeping these Terraform developers.
We have.
It sounds like finding the right people is just the beginning.
It is. You need to create a culture where they can thrive.
And that's how you build a truly successful team.
Exactly.
And if you're feeling lost in the world of tech hiring, head over to theperfectdeveloper.com. They're an amazing resource.
They are.
And don't forget to try the 5 questions. It's a great way to figure out what you need in a developer.
It really is. Yeah, it's all about building that right environment,
Yeah.
where everybody can do their best work.
Right. Make it a good place to work. But sometimes things happen.
Oh, yeah.
You got deadlines, you got complex problems. Sometimes people just don't get along. So how do you deal with that?
Well, the perfectdeveloper.com had a really good point about this. It all comes down to communication, but not just any communication. You need to make sure everyone feels comfortable giving feedback.
So you can find solutions together.
Exactly. And it's also really important to be empathetic.
Put yourself in other people's shoes.
Yeah, try to see things from their perspective.
So we've covered a lot today.
Yeah.
We talked about what makes a Terraform developer unique. We talked about how to find them and hire them. And we even talked about how to build a great team and keep them happy.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, just remember, theperfectdeveloper.com is there to help.
They're a fantastic resource.
They are. And don't forget to try out the 5 questions.
Mhm.
It's a great way to figure out what you really need in a developer.
It'll give you a good starting point.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. But before we go, we want to hear from you. What do you think sets Terraform developers apart from other developers? Head over to theperfectdeveloper.com and let us know.
We love hearing from you.
And until next time, happy hiring.